Most people think station wagons were nothing more than family cars. Long roofs, wood trim, kids in the back, groceries in the trunk. But hidden inside American automotive history are a few station wagons so rare, so unusual, and so valuable today that even serious collectors spend years trying to find just one. Some were built in tiny numbers. Some were too expensive for their time. And one of them was so strange, people didn't even understand what they were looking at until decades later. These are the 5 rarest American station wagons ever built, and by the end of this video, you may never look at a wagon the same way again. Number 5. The 1956 Chevrolet Nomad. Today, the Nomad is one of the most recognizable wagons in American history. But in the 1950s, Chevrolet accidentally created something buyers weren't expecting. Instead of making a normal family wagon, Chevrolet gave the Nomad a sporty roofline, slanted rear pillars, and styling that looked more like a luxury coupe than a practical hauler. It was beautiful. Too beautiful. Families thought it was too expensive. Performance buyers thought it was too practical. And because it sat awkwardly between two worlds, sales never matched expectations. Only a limited number were produced, and many were later modified, wrecked, or simply rusted away. That means original surviving examples have become incredibly hard to find. Today, collectors don't just see a wagon, they see one of the first American cars that proved utility could actually be stylish. And prices now can climb well into 6 figures for the right one. Not bad for a car many people once ignored. Number 4. The 1969 Buick Sport Wagon with Vista roof. At first glance, it looked like another family wagon. But one detail changed everything. The roof. Buick added raised glass skylights, running above the rear passengers. From inside the car, children could literally look up at the sky while riding down the road. It felt futuristic, almost like something from a concept car. But buyers in the late 1960s weren't sure they wanted a wagon that looked this unusual. And because these wagons were often used exactly as intended, hauling families for years, many were driven until they disappeared. Very few clean survivors remain. What once looked like a strange design choice now feels decades ahead of its time. And that has made the Vista Roof Sport Wagon one of the most desirable hidden wagons in America. Some collectors say the moment they saw that glass roof, they knew it was special, even if the rest of the world didn't. Number 3. The 1970 Oldsmobile Vista Cruiser 442 conversion. This one is rare for a different reason. Because technically, it was never supposed to exist. The standard Oldsmobile Vista Cruiser was already distinctive. But a handful of enthusiasts and specialty builders transformed some into high-performance wagons using powerful 442 components. Big engines, heavy-duty suspension, aggressive exhaust, and performance that shocked people. Imagine pulling up next to what looked like a family wagon, then watching it outrun cars nobody expected it to beat. That was the magic. Because very few were ever converted properly, authentic examples are almost impossible to verify today. Some collectors spend years debating whether certain cars are real. And that mystery only makes them more desirable. It wasn't just rare, it became legendary. Because nobody expects a station wagon to become a muscle car. And that surprise still makes people stare when one appears. Number 2. The 1949 Chrysler Town & Country Wagon. This wasn't just transportation. It was rolling craftsmanship. At a time when most cars were stamped from steel, Chrysler built this wagon with genuine wood panels handcrafted into the body. Each one looked like a piece of furniture that somehow became an automobile. And because real wood requires constant care, many owners couldn't preserve them. Sun, rain, time. The very material that made the car beautiful also made it fragile. Over the decades, countless examples disappeared forever. That means surviving originals have become incredibly valuable. Collectors today don't just buy the car, They buy the artistry. Because no modern car can truly recreate what these wagons represented. A time when automobiles were built with character you could literally touch. And seeing one in person feels less like looking at a car, and more like stepping back into a lost era. And more like stepping into another era. Number 1. The 1954 Pontiac Star Chief Custom Safari. This may be the rarest of them all. And for years, most people had no idea how special it was. Pontiac wanted to build a wagon that felt upscale, not basic, not ordinary. So they gave the Safari premium trim, exclusive design details, and a body unlike anything else on the road. It was elegant, distinctive, and incredibly expensive. Too expensive. That price kept many buyers away, and production numbers stayed painfully low. Then time made things worse. Many of these wagons were used hard. Others were scrapped when values dropped, and some simply vanished. Today, finding a genuine surviving Safari can feel almost impossible. Collectors who know the market understand exactly what it is, because this wasn't just another wagon. It was Pontiac trying to turn practicality into prestige, and in many ways, it was years ahead of what buyers were ready for. That's what makes these cars so fascinating. They weren't just rare because few were built. Some were rare because people misunderstood them. Some were rare because they were too advanced. And some became rare simply because nobody thought they were worth saving. Until it was too late. And that may be what makes these forgotten station wagons so valuable now. Not just their scarcity, but the fact that history almost erased them completely. Which of these rare wagons surprised you the most? And if one of these was sitting in your garage tomorrow morning, would you drive it or never let it leave? But what makes these wagons truly unforgettable is not just how rare they are. It is the fact that almost nobody saw their future coming. When these cars were new, most people treated them like ordinary transportation. They carried children to school. They hauled luggage on family vacations. They sat outside grocery stores. And many owners never imagined that one day, people would search across the country just to find a single surviving example. That is what makes automotive history so unpredictable. Sometimes the cars people laugh at become legends, and sometimes the cars people overlook become priceless. A station wagon was never supposed to become a dream car. It was never supposed to become a collector's prize, and it certainly was never supposed to become something people would fight over at auctions decades later. But that is exactly what happened. Because rarity alone does not create value. Stories create value. And every one of these wagons carries a story that modern cars simply cannot copy. A story of a different America, a different design philosophy, and a time when car companies were willing to take risks that would never happen today. Some were too expensive. Some were too strange. And some were simply born years before the world was ready for them. And maybe that is why people love them now. Because these wagons remind us that the most unforgettable cars are not always the fastest. They are not always the loudest. And they are not always the most famous. Sometimes, the most unforgettable cars are the ones history almost forgot. And when one of them suddenly appears at a car show, on a quiet road, or inside a private collection, people stop. They stare. And for a moment, they realize they are looking at something they may never see again. So now I want to ask you, which of these rare American station wagons would you actually keep in your own garage? And more importantly, would you drive it or protect it forever?